Hello everybody, welcome back to Spring Semester 2021. I'm Kirsten Vaca, your professor for this semester, and I will be going over with you today briefly the course website so that you know where to find material and what my expectations are for you throughout the rest of this semester. When you first go onto the course website, this is what it'll look like when you first open the homepage for our course website, which is under ANTh151 section 4, which is the asynchronous section of this class. Here's just a general overview of what the course is about, some course outcomes, how to be successful, specifically success meaning managing your time, willingness to communicate with me, and work with your classmates. Even though this is an asynchronous class, there will still be some level of interaction between you and your classmates, which we'll go over. The syllabus is the most important thing to visit first. The syllabus will let you know what the expectations are for the class and the course schedule for this semester. And I won't go over it here. I'll leave that to you to read through, but I'll point out a few important parts of the syllabus. First, you need to make sure that you get the text that is assigned for the class. There is one text that is assigned that you can either get from Amazon, from West Oahu Bookstore, or you can actually use the digital edition of this text through the IDAP program. There's a link to the IDAP program over here on the left side in the menu. Now, an important thing to know about IDAP is everybody is automatically enrolled in this IDAP program. So if you do not want to be part of that program, if you prefer to have a physical text, for example, or you want to get a cheaper used copy of the text, then make sure that you opt out of that IDAP program. Here you'll see information about grading and participation. Please make sure you read through all of this in your own time so that you know how the class will be graded. And this tells you my policy on late assignments. Assignments are not accepted late, so make sure that you're paying attention to the deadlines, which are all listed in the course schedule below and will be listed on lessons, which we'll go over next. Please let me know if you need any accommodations, and make sure that you go through the Office for Disability Accommodation, specifically talk to Tom Hirschbrunner, who can help you out with that. And once your accommodation is documented, then they will send that information to me, and I can make sure that you are getting all of the help that you need to be successful in this course. Now, if you don't necessarily have a disability or a learning issue that would qualify under accommodations, but you still find yourself struggling in this course, please let me know. You can email me at any time or come to my office hours, which are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the time is listed up above on the syllabus, from 1 to 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I will let you know if those hours change. Please let me know if you are struggling at all, whether you have an accommodation or not, and we will work through the material together to find a way to help you be successful in this course. All right, down here is the course schedule, which you'll want to read through and make sure that you keep up. The course is still broken down as it would be for a more traditional class with set times during the week, but the benefit of this being an asynchronous course is you get to work through this material weekly on your own schedule. So while there's still 2 lectures a week, as there would be in a synchronous course, and there's still 2 readings assigned each week, as there would be in a synchronous course, and I still want you to follow that structure, you can work through that at your own pace. Now, the important thing that you do together, however, is the weekly reflection, which we will go over how to do that, but you'll be doing that on a message board called Flipgrid, and that will be a space where you can discuss with your classmates the weekly reading material and lecture material. If you continue to scroll through this schedule, you will see quizzes every other week, and these quizzes cover the readings from the 2 weeks previous. So for example, quiz 1 will cover the readings from week 1, Kelly chapter 1 and Chazan part 1, and week 2, which is Kelly chapter 2 and Chazan chapter 2. Kelly is the other book that you'll be reading through, but that one is a PDF. So any other readings that are not the Chazan book are PDFs that you can find in the resources folder on this website. And the resources folder is over here to your left in that menu bar right here. And those readings are also linked in the weekly lessons, which we'll go to. The other requirements, aside from the quizzes and the weekly reflections on the material, and of course reading the material that is assigned and watching the lectures, are papers that you will write throughout the semester. There are 3 papers that are assigned. The first one is a short essay that is due in week 6, that Friday by midnight. And essay 1 will be a reflection of archaeological methods that you have learned about thus far. And it's a short essay again. And that assignment will be open early so that you can look at the requirements and you can start preparing for that essay. And all assignments can be found over here on the Assignments tab. So while it will be linked in that weekly lesson for you to submit, the assignment will be open early so that you can take a look and start preparing. And I will link it in an earlier week as well so that you remember that it's coming up. Essay 2 is due in week 13. And this is a reflection on some theories that we will be going over in class. It's a little bit longer than the first one, but it's meant to help you synthesize and evaluate the theories that you will be learning in that section of the class. And then the final essay is an amalgamation of the course material, and this will be a research project that you will be doing. Part of that research project is developing a research question, and the purpose of this question, the purpose of this essay, is to draw connections between what we have learned in this class and the contemporary world. And you'll see that there are prompts throughout the semester for when you will submit essay topics and for when you should start working on that writing of the essay. So we'll be working on that together. There are no exams in this class. It's just the quizzes every other week and the 3 papers, along with the other weekly assignments. And the design of this course is meant to integrate the different levels of learning. So you may have heard of something called Bloom's taxonomy. Here's an infographic from Vanderbilt University about Bloom's taxonomy and teaching. The way that I design my class is based on this learning, or what we call pedagogy theory, where there are different levels of knowledge production and different levels of learning that need to be integrated throughout the semester in order to best help you not only understand the material, but also be able to integrate it and apply it. So the bottom of this Bloom's taxonomy pyramid is this idea of remembering, which is too commonly where a lot of classes stop. So if you have a class in either high school or college that is just straight lecture that only asks you to memorize facts, that is only stopping at the remembering phase, and that's called the banking method. It's just asking you to memorize and repeat information. But that doesn't actually help you learn the material as well as working your way up through these different levels of learning to the evaluating and creating stage where you're producing your own work, which means that you're able to develop and formulate a research design, for example, in which you have to apply the information that you have learned, which means that you are able to comprehend the themes, you're able to comprehend the concepts that you have learned throughout the semester and take them from their original context and use them in something that you're creating. So the different stages of Bloom's taxonomy are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. And there are different terms that are used. So the traditional words are knowledge comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, but they're for the same concepts. So the different levels are remembering. That's the important foundation for this pyramid of learning. You have to at least be able to recall basic facts. You have to have basic information, and that's what the lectures are in this class. They're the basic information that you need. And then understanding is this ability to be able to explain ideas and concepts, to recognize what these concepts mean, what certain definitions are for important terms, for example. And then applying is being able to use that information that you have learned, that you've been able to remember, the facts that you can recall and understand and explain, be able to apply that in new situations. The analysis is then drawing connections between ideas. So all of these three stages are integrated into those weekly responses that you'll be doing. So you'll be showing me in those weekly responses that you understand the concepts of the class, that you can apply those concepts in this different scenario. So not just regurgitating facts in the quiz, but being able to apply it in this different scenario where you're explaining your reflection to the class, and you're able to draw connections between those ideas and other material that you're learning or your daily life. And then finally, evaluating and creating is being able to argue a stance, being able to critique an idea. So looking at something that we've learned and critiquing it based on knowledge that you have from the course, for example. And then designing your own research project, constructing and developing your own ideas and applying the information that you have learned. And that's something that you will do more and more throughout the class, but particularly in that final project. In all of the essays, but specifically that final essay that you will be writing. And I always want to go over that learning model so that you understand that this class has been designed intentionally to help you be the most successful student and to help really teach you how to learn. So it's not just about teaching you archaeology. It's not just about teaching you about the history of humanity. It's about teaching you how to learn as well, so that not only are you taking away knowledge from this course, but you're also taking away academic skills that you can use in other classes. And that's useful for anybody, but particularly if you're not intending to be an anthropology major, you can at least take something skill-based away from this class. Hopefully some important knowledge as well, but also important academic skills. All right, let's move on to these weekly lessons. To figure out what you need to do every week in this class, you want to visit weekly lessons at the beginning of each week. The new week will open every week at the start of that week on Sunday. That doesn't mean you have to start working on it on Sunday, but it will open for you on Sundays every week, and you can work at your own pace through the week. The first week is a little bit interesting, is a little bit different because there's a welcome and then the lesson for week 1. The welcome, hopefully you have already figured out because this video is posted in the welcome. But the welcome is just the introduction to the course. So reading through the syllabus, watching this video that you're watching right now, and introducing yourself in a Flipgrid video. Now, Flipgrid is the discussion board that we will be using for the rest of this semester. And let me show you how that will look. If you click on this link, it will take you to the class Flipgrid. And you will need to sign in with your Hawaii email address. If you don't sign in with your Hawaii email address, it will not let you on. So see, I have a lot of different Google addresses here, but I need to sign on with my hawaii.edu or it won't let me in because this is an education tool that's set to only let people with the hawaii.edu email in. So once you get here, each week there's a different prompt and you will see specifically what I want you to respond to. And then this gives you directions on how to respond. And this is a pretty easy tool to use, pretty self-explanatory, but let me walk you through it a little bit. These are predominantly video responses. You do have the ability to use text if you want, but I recommend video because it's a more engaging way for us to learn and discuss the concepts together since we are not meeting in person. So for this introductory video, this is pretty simple. All I want you to do is tell us your name, what your major is. Because this course is a required course, there's a lot of you, the majority of you, that are not anthropology majors. So tell us where you're coming from. What's your intended or confirmed major? What are you most interested in? And then tell us what you hope to learn from this class. And finally, something that we should know about you. Now, this video is set to 3 minutes. Usually I'll set the video responses from 3 to 5 minutes. They do not have to be that long. That's just to make sure you can get that response in the allotted time. And what all you need to do, you can do this from any device with a camera or a microphone. All you need to do is record a response. If you aren't able to record because you don't have a camera or a microphone, you can use a text response. But if you are able to record, please do so. We'll be using this flip grid each week for the reflection. And each reflection, the reflections of the week will look different from that intro, of course. And for those reflections, you'll be required to respond to each other. You'll post an initial response on your reflection for the week, and then you will post an additional second video or text response to somebody else's reflection, so that it's more of a conversation with one another. And if you ever just want to visit the class Flipgrid, there is a link on the side over here where you can find just the home page for the class Flipgrid. Right now you can only see that Flipgrid because that's the only one that's open, but each week a new topic will open. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Once you complete the tasks, you want to check them off. This one was linked, so when I clicked on that, it checked it off for me. Once you complete reading through the syllabus, you check that off. Once you watch the intro video, you check that off, and that will let you know that you've completed all of the requirements for that lesson. Now this week, again, it's a little bit different because there's that welcome before you move into what is anthropology and archaeology, but this will not open for you until you complete that checklist because those are prerequisites. So each of these will open after you complete the prerequisites in the lesson before. Now if you complete them, but you complete them early, then you'll have to wait till the week starts to open the next weekly lesson. But if you have not completed them and the next week starts, it still will not open for you because you need to complete those prerequisites. So make sure that you're keeping up with those assignments or you'll fall behind pretty quickly. So this is what a pretty typical week will look like. You'll have a reading that's assigned and you want to work through this in order. So once you do the reading, you check that off. This is linked so I can click on this and it'll take me down to the specific reading that I want to look at. And this is the other textbook that is in PDF format, and the whole book is linked here. So pay attention to the specific chapter you're supposed to be reading because the entire text is included in this PDF. So you just want to open it and read the chapter that's assigned, and for this week, it's chapter 1. It's being a little slow, so I'll not open that right now. And then as for Chazan, I have uploaded the first couple of chapters until you're able to get the textbook. But once we get to, I believe, week 3, I no longer include the PDFs of Chazan. So you need to make sure that you have the textbook by then. And then there will be a lecture. This week the lecture is Mentimeter, Intro to Archaeology. And when you click on this, it'll take you to the video recording of that lecture, just like it did for this intro video that you're watching now. And then if there is an assignment like there is this week, the assignment will be linked below as well. And you click on that, it'll take you to the assignments tab and you'll fill out that assignment. This is an assignment that is for participation points, and it's just an introductory survey so that I can get to know you all better and be able to figure out where you are in terms of your education, in terms of your familiarity with anthropology, so that I can better tailor the class to what you know and what I need to focus on in terms of the lessons that we're moving through. Now, some weeks there will be 2 lectures, as I had mentioned before. but you want to complete the lectures in order. So there will be a reading and then a lecture, and then a reading and then a lecture, just like you would do if you were meeting in person twice a week. So make sure you're completing those in order so that the material makes sense. And then once you finish all of that material, you will complete the weekly reflection. So let me show you what that looks like. You see here, this is my view now, not the student view. And you see here that each of these won't be released until a particular date, and they all have prerequisites. And no 2 weeks look the same. So here you see there's a lot of readings for week 2, but only one lecture. There's Kelly chapter 2, which is a pretty short reading. There's a web page that you just want to explore. It's an interactive web page where you can learn about fossils and click on pictures, see what they look like, read a little bit. And then Chazan chapter 2. And then another web page that's about dating, so a shorter web page, the more interactive pages. So because there's more reading, there's only one lecture. And then you have an NPS dating lab. That's an assignment for that week. That's another interactive web page that has a few questions. And basically it's just to test that you read through the material on dating, which is an important topic for this week. And then you have a quiz to complete. And all of the quizzes are only 5 questions. And then you have the class Flipgrid that you'll leave a response to. If you go down here to the class Flipgrid, click on that, and what you will be telling us in the weekly reflections is something that you learned or found interesting this week, connections to something else in your life or in another class, for example, and something you want to learn more about. And then you're going to respond to another student's videos. And these videos do not have to be long. They are max 5 minutes, but they should be a reflection of what you're thinking about the weekly material, both for me to grasp what you're understanding and so that you can have that interaction with your classmates, even though we're not all together at the same time. Now, I know this week looks like a lot of reading, but I promise you it is mostly fun, interactive web pages for a lot of this, and then just a little bit of testing your knowledge on the reading that you did. So each week looks a little bit different, and the amount of work is balanced, but it's the same amount of work that you would be doing if we were meeting face to face. You just need to make sure that you're keeping yourself on top of that work. So I would recommend treating it like you would an in-person class and designate time throughout the week for the readings and assignments and watching the lectures. So maybe 2 days throughout the week that you will be doing that work so that you don't leave it all to the last minute. And finally, let's walk through what's over here. If you go to the assignments tab, this will give you an idea of what assignments are coming up. Now, all of them are in draft form right now. They're not published. This is what this will look like for you right now. You just have access right now to the extra credit library workshop, but all of the assignments will open up. All the assignments will open up in the week that you should start working on them. For tests and quizzes, again, these are also closed until the week that you will be taking them. So quiz 1 is open now, but the rest of the quizzes are not open yet because it's not time to take them. The link to the class Flipgrid is here if you want to visit the class Flipgrid and you're not in the lessons, but it's also linked in the lessons. The resources folder has everything that is uploaded to the site, all the PDFs that are uploaded to the site. So you have lectures. In the lectures tab, these are the PDF of the PowerPoints. The research and writing resources are important for learning how to write like a social scientist. And they take you through mechanical writing skills as well. Mechanical, technical writing skills. So take a look at those, particularly when you start writing your essays. And there's links to different resources at West Oahu too, so please take advantage of those resources. And then resources for the final essay are just some extra resources for you about writing research papers And then there's a documentary here about gender and archaeology that you can watch if that's a topic that interests you, and that shows you how to integrate these ideas in an archaeological research project as well, and how it connects to the present. So while it's a documentary, it's a good example of the type of research that you can do for that final essay. And then here you have the readings that will be assigned throughout this semester. This link will take you to EHRAF, or the Electronic Human Resource Area Files, which is a database of anthropological and archaeological resources from across the world that have been documented that you can explore when you start your own research project. And then, of course, I talked about the IDAP textbook. If you ever want to check your grade, you can go to Gradebook Classic, and it will tell you what your grade is for all of the assignments. And then if you want to send me an email or your classmates an email, you can go to the email tool and choose who you want to email. And all of the assignments will be posted on the calendar, so you can also check out the calendar to see when things are due. It's calendar by month. List of events is useful. Right now the only thing there is the quiz 1 because that's the only thing that's published, but you can keep an eye on that as well. All right, I hope this has been useful. And if you have any questions about the structure of the class or where to find information, please let me know. I look forward to an exciting semester, even though we're not officially meeting in person. Remember, you can always come and talk to me in office hours about the class material or send me an email. And I will create a Flipgrid video as well to show you what that can look like, to introduce myself, who I am, my interests in archaeology, get to know you a little bit better. And I look forward to watching all of your introductory Flipgrid videos as well to meet you all.